everybody.
Howdy. And greetings to all of you. This is well, first off, I suppose we should introduce ourselves.
Okay.
I'm Greg.
And I'm Chris.
We're brothers and identical twins, and old guys.
Yeah, gray hairs. And we feel like we have something we'd like to offer to the world. We've been offering things to the world for some time, but recently, and when I say recently, in the last maybe 3 years, 3.5 years, no, more like maybe 4 years since starting with Marianne.
Oh yeah, that's probably since 2013.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
So anyway, back then, a major change took place.
So that's going on 6 years.
Oh wow, you're right.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
So major change happened in our lives. So we thought, first of all, we'll give you a little bit of background. We wanted to do this because we thought that what we had been going through in the last period of time in our lives could be valuable and useful to some of you. It's what's going on for us is not unrelated in any way to what's going on in the world. And many of you will definitely be able to resonate with what we have to say. We've been on a spiritual path. We both have. We've been great friends our whole lives.
Yeah, this is like the spiritual version or the ascension version of that TV show called Property Brothers, those two twins.
Yeah, right.
So that's what this is, I guess.
Yeah. So spiritual property brothers or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, so we've been on a spiritual path for a good portion of our lives. It goes back to like 1970.
73, 74, somewhere around there.
And so it's been growing over the time, and it's been a life-defining thing. We've done a lot of different things in our lives, but it has been the central theme. And because our intent in doing this is we want to be as authentic and real as possible, and ground the spiritual reality as much as possible. That's what happened a few years back. We knew we had to do something significant in order to make our lives real.
Yeah.
Or more real.
And the last thing that we want to be about with doing something like this, a presentation on YouTube, is something that's about us. It's not about us. And we want to be as clear as possible so that the message comes across in a way that makes it useful to you, where you can actually connect, where it actually can ring true to you about what's happening in your life right now. Because man, oh man, are we in the midst of some intense times here on this planet. There's a lot going on, as you well know. If you're watching this,
Yeah.
If you're watching this video, most likely it's because you are going through some amazing transmutation, not just transformation, but transmutation. And you're looking for validation, possibly, that what's happening for you, other people are having the same experience. And we're here to say, yes.
Yeah.
That is happening, and it's real, and it's okay.
Yeah. So it's not about us, and in a way it is, because sorry to contradict you, but
that's fine.
It may seem like I'm contradicting, but I'm not really. We are the medium. And the message is us too, in a way.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, and so, but we don't want to set ourselves apart from everybody else and in some way and make it about us. It's just sharing with you what you probably have been experiencing, are experiencing. And again, this is for people who maybe are looking for something, and it may be of some value to you and assistance to you, and maybe even an inspiration, because we've been through a lot of things over the last couple of years. Some really challenging, trying, hard things.
Yep.
And We're here to say that this is possible to be done and that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I see it. I'm not saying I'm through the tunnel by any means. I don't think that we're going to claim that we are like some sort of amazing arrived
Finished product,
No.
fully ascended, or anything of that sort.
No, we're nothing like that. We're in process just like you guys. But we've been in this process long enough that we felt that we had something we could share.
Yep. So now, with that as a preface, we have been thinking long and hard about doing this.
Yeah.
And it's been a back and forth sort of thing, because I know that there's a lot in my makeup that still needs attention, obviously. And that's the case with all of us. But so we've toyed with the idea of doing this, and finally here we are doing it, and we thought we'd just give it a go. So here we go.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So a brief history on myself, and some of what I say will apply to my brother as well, because obviously we've been friends and on this path our whole lives. I'd say our spiritual awakening happened right around 1970, like you were saying, 73, 74. Like you were saying, we've done a lot of different things. Actually, we probably don't need to get into all of that. But probably principally what's happened over the last roughly 6 years, about 2013, I had what I can describe as a catastrophe in my heart realm.
Seemingly.
Well, it seemed like a catastrophe,
Yeah.
right? At the time, it felt like, wow, the world's ending. And it was all based around, and these people will remain nameless, but based around primarily the ending of a relationship that triggered something in my subconscious that was like an avalanche of intensity, grief. It was really hard to make sense out of the level of grief I was experiencing.
Well, let me just say, from my standpoint, when I saw him enter this, there are words that have been used to describe it in the past, and one of them is catabasis.
I think that's a Greek word.
Yeah.
I think that's Greek. It has a Greek
Catabasis.
origin. I don't know. You can check
I think
that.
that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not sure. It really doesn't matter, because the event, the reality of it, was something that I had never seen before. And as a matter of fact, as he started to go into this experience, it shook me up because I'd never seen him in such a profound cauldron of fire
And pain.
and pain.
Yeah.
And but the more I was with it and provided I continue to provide friendship and that kind of thing, but the more I was with it, the more I started to not be afraid of it, and I started to realize, okay, everything's going to be fine. It's very unknown, and it was kind of scary in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because it was like, what is going on?
Yeah, and I remember one particular day, and this is toward the beginning of the avalanche of grief and pain and the seeming collapse of reality for me, that I didn't think I was going crazy or losing my mind. It was just something I'd never experienced before. But I remember one time sitting in this chair in my house, and my brother was sitting across from me. He was on the sofa.
And by the way, he had just been through this amazing eruption, if you will, of pain and grief and tears, and just like, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, so I'm going through that, and what comes to me is a voice which is me. I suppose a lot of people might call it your higher self, but I don't want that to make it sound like it's something separate from ourselves. Our higher self is always there. It's actually the higher frequencies or the higher vibration of our existing makeup of who we are. But what flooded into my consciousness was, and I spoke the words because it's true of me and it's true of everybody, actually, I will not stop, and I will not turn.
Yeah.
Which was, I was committed, I was absolutely certain and knew that I would find my way through, that this would be a creative outworking. So again, my brother was kind of a victim of my experience, if you want to look at it of that in some ways.
In a way, I suppose you could kind of say that. I felt it was almost, it's kind of natural because of the human state that we're in, that we tend to feel victimized easily. So initially, maybe I did feel kind of put upon, like, holy cow, what am I going to do with this?
Right.
How am I going to handle this? What
Yeah.
am I supposed to do? But in the end, it was a doorway for me too. A profound doorway and an amazing gift. It just happened becoming or initiating through him in a very specific way.
Yeah. So there was, at that time, my brother said, also, he said, well, we need to do something about this.
Yeah, because our intent, truly, from the beginning, even from the beginning of the spiritual awakening,
Yeah.
back in 1973, even the intent from the beginning was we didn't want to play games. We didn't want to be just playing spiritual games or pretending. We didn't want to be pretentious or pretending. We wanted to do the real thing. There's been a driving, deep desire
Yep.
all along
Yep.
to want to do the real thing. And there have been many people over the years who have brought the real thing, and that's always deeply inspired me. I want to do that.
Okay, so here's what happened then. This Catabasis was a wake-up call for me, and I think for my brother. I think so. I know for my brother it was a wake-up call also, which was, okay, your life up to this point has been a blessing to many people, and you've learned a lot, but there obviously were and there probably are still factors in my experience. I know there are. But there were factors in my consciousness that were impeding the genuine me from being on hand. And it was time to get honest. That up to that point, there were still game playing, spiritual games, and a lot of people do that. I bet a lot of that. I got to be careful. I don't want to say you're doing it, but
Yeah, it's common.
But it's common because the spiritual game is a great way to avoid facing your stuff. And to really be spiritual, we have to be willing to go there and face the real issues that are present.
For a lot of people, including me, we know inherently that in this world, living here in this world, there are a lot of people put it as skeletons in the closet. There's stuff under the rug. There's stuff in our subconscious. There's stuff in our heart that we're afraid of.
Yep.
That we think that in order to deal with it, we need to get away from it. And so the spiritual path has been, I need to ascend away from this world and get away from this stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's what I call, and other people have called, flying in men's work. I think Robert Bly maybe even referred to it, and there have been some other books where they call the flying boy syndrome. And I'd say the flying girl or the flying boy, the flying man, the flying woman, whatever, attempting to get away. And man, are there a slew of things that we do in this world to try to not have to face this hard stuff.
That's right.
And that's what happened with his experience. And I got to the point of going, as he said, we got to do something about this.
Yes.
Because we want to be real.
Yeah, so that getting real meant something really scary, but also it felt like, wow, this is what I need to do. And it was to actually locate a therapist, somebody who could assist me, and obviously it was assist my brother. I can only speak for myself, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, but initially it was primarily him. That's the whole move. It was like, we've got to get serious here, and you need to find a therapist, right?
Right.
So we found somebody.
Amazing
person. Her name is Mary Ann. I'm not going to get the last name.
Now.
What a gift from Creator, from God, from heaven, whatever you want to call it, from Spirit. What a gift. And the really cool thing is that he started his sessions, and as soon as he started, I knew. I was like, I've got to do this too. I've got to get honest. And so I started seeing her too.
Yeah. So that process went for, from beginning till when we actually concluded, right at 2.5 years. Every week. Well, there was occasionally maybe like if Marianne had to go on vacation or she had something to do, but that wasn't very often. And for my brother and myself, vacations during this time were occasionally, you know, we do it too because she encouraged it. Obviously, you have to take care of yourself, and treat yourself nice, love yourself. But it went for 2.5 years, and then I mean, and you might say, well, how did you know when to end? It was an internal knowing, and it came to an end. Holy crap, when that happened, I'll go ahead and share a little bit about what happened on the day that we ended the therapy. My brother and I were driving home, and I remember something flooding into consciousness about, like, Greg, you think God doesn't love you? Wow, I'm starting to feel it right here. The heart chakra is really opening. You think God doesn't love you? He brought you Marianne. And it opened up for not just for me, but for my brother too, this floodgate of amazing. Somebody was with us. Yeah. Somebody came to pay us a visit in the car while we're driving home. We don't know who it is. I mean, we've speculated about who it might be, but I'll tell you what it was. There was so much love. Holy cow, I've never experienced it like that ever.
It was so overwhelming. We were in tears of joy.
Yeah.
And overwhelmed in joy and like the most powerful feeling of love that I've ever experienced.
Yep.
And we look back on it in retrospect, and it's when we were driving in the car, and we had to drive like 40 miles to get home, and we got back somehow, and there were phases of the drive where we don't remember how we were even driving.
And I'm driving, and I look back on it and I think, like, who was driving the car?
Yeah.
When this was happening, it was like an out-of-body experience. We were in the kingdom of heaven with somebody.
And it was amazing, because when it was over, we got back to the house, and we went into the house, and we were like, I want more of that.
That's exactly. I want that. I want that. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to have that.
Whatever it takes. And so something I would like to say about the therapy. Because living a truly real spiritual life of bringing love. I'm going to mention a name. Yeshua, Jesus. The guy has been turned into a religious figurehead or a belief system or something. It's like the reality of the being, the reality of the man, the embodiment of love that the guy was. That's what I want to do. He said, walk in my steps, do what I pointed out. So that's what we've always wanted to do. So the thing about the therapy that was so amazing, so incredibly profound, was that it was the most spiritual thing I had ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Every week, every week, the fear and the anxiety that we had to face to go to a session and face whatever had to be faced.
Be honest.
To be honest with what's really going on here. To face it for real. That's the most spiritual thing I'd ever done. It wasn't going up and getting out and away from things. It was going down.
Go into what's scary.
Go into scary. Yeah. Some people have called it the rat hole. Going down the rat hole. Going into the darkness, really. And saying, what's really there? What's really controlling my life? That was the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life.
Me too. And I remember we would finish sessions with Marianne and be driving back, and it was incredibly obvious to us that it was the most spiritual thing that was happening in my life. It's the most spiritual thing I had ever done, and we knew also, we talked about the fact that we were doing this not just for ourselves. We were doing this for mankind.
Yep.
That we want, and this is not some sort of big ego, blow up my ego into something really amazing. No, because it's the fact of the matter. Service. It's about living your life in service, knowing that we are a part of mankind. And mankind is in the shithole right now. Excuse me for using that language. Mankind is not in a good place right now, and I think that you know that too.
Yep. We have this miracle that's happening. We're on this amazing miracle called planet Earth.
Yep.
This planet, I don't know how many people stop to think about this, but this planet is in the deep of space. I mean, it's a void of darkness. There's no oxygen beyond our own atmosphere, and you could say, yeah, I know.
Theoretically, you might know that.
Theoretically. But we are in the deepest space, and there's nothing nearby. People talk about Mars and all of that. Planet Earth is Eden.
Yep.
It's this amazing miracle in the deep of space, where it's a self-contained, perfect, beautiful, amazing jewel of magnificence.
A perpetual motion machine. It's contained. It's amazing.
And we've got all these life forms, this amazing diversity of life forms on this planet. And human beings are living in this pathetic, sad state. And so we're all here to be of service. We came here, believe it or not, we came here to be of service. So we wanted to share with you a bit about what we've been up to. And there's a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more.
Yeah. Well, for instance, we finished the therapy after 2.5 years, had that amazing experience in the car with somebody amazing. Amazing. So the next thing that happened, we'll just kind of give you a little timeline here. We decided, okay, it's time to really change things here. Put all furniture in a storage, in a pod, those pod things. Put them in a pod, stored it away, packed up the car with camping gear, all that kind of thing, and hit the road for what ended up being, well, we didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
We didn't even know where we were going.
We didn't even know where we were going. We kind of had an idea, the initial direction. Okay, so we did that. We hit the road. Now, one of the factors that I want to throw into this whole mix during this time, in a good portion of my life, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in this presentation here, that human beings love to avoid. Right now, and it's understandable because there's so much pain. The way we've been raised, the abuse, the sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, not being wanted, go on and on. But it's all there, and you can probably relate to this. Yeah, neglect. You can probably relate to this. And then because of that, you don't think much of yourself. You think, oh, I'm no good. Nobody loves me. It can go on, and so there's an avoidance. You don't want to deal with that stuff, right?
It's
you don't want to deal with it, and it's understandable because it's painful. But like my brother was just saying, when you go into the therapy, and it doesn't have to be. Not everybody has to do therapy. Everybody has their own path to find the truth of themselves, because it's already there. By the way, the truth of yourself is there. You don't have to find it outside yourself. But the avoidance part of things is a huge, huge part of the way human beings function right now. And for me, and a good portion of my life, I used alcohol a lot, because there was so much pain. I didn't want to deal with it. So during this road, all through therapy, I was drinking all through therapy. And I remember, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but I want to kind of fill in the blanks here. During therapy, my therapist never brought up, are you drinking?
Yeah.
She never did that, and I was grateful for that, because if she had brought it up, it would have been like, why bring that up? Because if I'm drinking, it's because of something. Let's find out what the root is of why I drink. Let's don't try to make me stop drinking.
Well, and the other thing about it is a lot of times with that approach, whether it's like rescuing people or interventions and that kind of thing,
waste.
First of all, it's very self-righteous to think that you can intervene in somebody else's license, that you know what they need to do.
That's right.
That's one big one.
That's wrong.
The other thing is it's very shaming to a person, because until a person gets to the point where they want to change, they're not going to.
That's the truth.
And so the other thing, and I'm sure you're going to get to this is going to be controversial.
Well, go ahead. I agree with you on this.
There's no such thing as alcoholism.
And there's
no such thing as addiction.
Addiction doesn't exist.
If you want to call alcoholism being something where somebody has found alcohol to be a crutch, and it's become a self-medicating coping mechanism.
It's like it's like people that drink probably think it's a positive feedback loop. You know, you drink and you feel better, so you drink more, so you feel better, and you think it numbs the thing. And so it's a learned behavior. It's not an addiction. It's a well entrenched a way of functioning,
and it's understandable. So in no way are we shaming anybody because they drink.
No. Or use drugs.
Or drugs. Or, and by the way, drugs, that would be a narcotic called pot, which we did for a while
I did that too.
Now, we don't do this stuff anymore.
No.
And we didn't have to go through any 12-step programs. We didn't have to do anything. We got to the point where it was like, it's got to stop.
And I'll bet you that if you happen to be watching this, which obviously if you're watching, but if you're drinking, I'll bet your internal dialogue at times is, I really know I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
That's the beginning, because that voice is who you really are.
Yeah.
It's not the behavior. Anyway, so we're on the road. We hit the road. We're heading west, and we get to we go through Lake Tahoe, and then we go to the West Coast, and we're driving up the West Coast, and we end up in a little town called Brookings, Oregon.
Yeah.
And I got really sick, and
I thought he was going to die.
I felt like I was going to die.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the bathroom, getting sick, and saying to Creator, I need help. I need help. This has to stop. I know this needs to stop, because this behavior is killing me. And from that point on, I was done. And it didn't take any amazing willpower. It was simply that I was done.
Yeah.
I was finished with the way I had been living in that regard. That's all. And this is all something that was born, I believe, out of doing therapy.
Absolutely.
Of doing the work of facing my demons and the shadows and the pain, and you just say, I'm done. And from that point on, that was it. I was done.
And again, I guess it's becoming obvious here by reason of this that he's been a doorway continually for me, because when he quit, I was drinking too, and he quit. I said, okay, I join you. We're in agreement on this, and we quit. And by the other thing I was doing is I used to smoke a pipe. That was another means of trying to...
Not pot, just regular tobacco.
Regular, just pipe tobacco. And that was another means of trying to self-medicate and deal with stress. I used to smoke tobacco to try to deal with stress. Every time I get stressed, I'd go out and puff on my pipe. Pretty soon, I was smoking all the time.
It was like a chimney.
I was smoking it constantly. And that, by the way, they got really expensive too. You start adding the stuff up, all the alcohol, all the pot, all the tobacco, all the sugar,
and all of a sudden you got all kinds of money available.
You stop doing that. Just let I'm rich. It's like it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So there was the dark side of my life, and when you say you're done, you're done. You move on, and like you were saying, interventions are a waste of time. It's self-righteous, and of the people who do it, they think they know better. You know when the time is right to stop. Yeah. And everybody's life path, everybody's journey is unique. And for some people like me, it required, part of my life journey was to go through the process of drinking and knowing what that experience was like, and then finally getting to the point saying, okay, I've done enough. It's time to move on. I'd like to move on now, and find out more about who I am and begin to actualize that. And to do that, you have to leave your avoidance behaviors behind you.
So, you know, one of the amazing things I think that needs to be said here is that there's a premise. If your premise is false, no matter what you do following that, it's going to be false,
Right.
which means things aren't going to work out well. The true premise is that we are divine beings. And when you enter everything or approach everything from the standpoint of that premise, that we are divine being, that we come from Creator, we are actually expressions of Creator. We're not separate from Creator.
That's right.
We are one with Creator, and when we approach our lives on that basis, just like we did with the therapy, we would go into the therapy from the standpoint and approach the therapy, approach doing that deep work as not being the thing that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Not being the wounds, not being all of the issues, but being the divine being that has a capacity, that has a consciousness that's been profoundly wounded or hurt or neglected or abused or whatever you want to say. When you approach it from the standpoint of who you are, it changes everything. It's empowering. So when you come to the point of saying, I'm willing to face the pain. First of all, the right premise is facing the feelings first. The causes, you were pointing to that a while back, the causes for what we're doing, not addressing the effects, like I drink, I gotta stop drinking. Well, why?
That'll never fix
That'll
anything.
never fix anything. You fix it from the standpoint of what is the cause of the drinking. The drinking, there's no such thing as anything that's addictive. Addiction is a behavior problem. It's a problem. It is a, what is it? It's a, what? Pavlov's dog. A learned response or something. It's like, I feel
Conditioned
pain.
response.
A conditioned response. I feel pain, I drink. Oh, I feel uncomfortable. Oh, I feel anxious. I gotta go talk to that girl. Oh, I'm scared. Drink something. Or what?
Or you know what other people do? They shop. They overwork. They lose themselves in their work. They lose themselves in exercise.
Working too hard?
Or
too much?
Yeah. Go on and on. There are all kinds of avoidance behaviors that we become involved in, and all of them. You know, if you're going to call drinking an addiction, well, then what's different about shopping, or over shopping, or spending money you don't have? How about that one? Or eating too much. There's another one. The way people, you know how people deal with eating too much, and this is not a shaming thing. People eat too much. Some people eat too much to try to satisfy the
pain,
whatever it is, and then they go throw up so that they, because they know that there's something that's not being addressed. So there's a whole slew of ways to avoid dealing with the pain, and the way through to fulfillment is to face your pain.
Yeah.
To actually, like you said, go down the rat hole.
Yeah.
The way actually, in a lot of ways, it's scary.
Yeah.
And a lot of the way through is down.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you the first response in most people is like, oh, no, I don't want to do that.
No, it's
But
scary.
it's like, I couldn't do that. It's like, yes, you can. Nothing. The being that you are cannot be touched by anything. The being that you are it's who you are. You're not what you're feeling. You can face and feel anything, and it's not you.
Yep.
So that's the premise, and the true premise, by the way. And so it's totally understandable that there's going to be fear and anxiety about facing the stuff. But here's the hard one. There's no choice.
Eventually,
There's really no choice. There's no easy way out. There's no way around it. There's no way to get around it. You have. This is the hard one.
But
You have to, and this is a fact. You personally, nobody can do it for you. You can't go to a therapist. The therapist can't do your personal work for you.
No.
You can't go to a minister or a preacher and have them do it for you and get absolution. That doesn't do it. You can't hope that maybe the extraterrestrials are going to do it for you, because they can't.
Oh, here's one.
Oh,
one.
Wait.
I bet you're going where I was going to go. Go ahead.
No. But I'm just saying, nobody can do it for you, and there's no way around it. This is the in the belly, it's bitter kind of thing. All the spiritual stuff, it's all sweet in the mouth, but it gets bitter in the belly when it gets down to cases, and that is you have to go through your own stuff. You have to go through it and come out the other side, and that is the scary part. It seems scary to the ego, to the conditioning, to the fear. I mean, our egos are nothing more than a compilation of lots of hereditary baggage that we get from our parents, and our parents got it from their parents, and their parents got it on and on.
And people think that's who I am.
And that's not who we are. That's an ego construct. And the only way to go through is to go through. And but when you do it, it's incredible. It's incredible. And only you can do the work. Nobody else can do it for you.
That's absolutely true. So you might be wondering, okay, so where's this trip going, right? I mean, this trip where we hit the road. We've barely gotten out of where we started. We just made it to Brookings, Oregon. Anyway, so this trip, from there, it went from the West Coast back to Colorado, and I was still feeling physically not so well, but I was really glad that the whole drinking thing, I knew it was gone. So it became obvious one morning I was waking up that this journey was not coming to an end.
No.
And that we had to hit the road again. So we packed up everything and hit the road again. This time we went up through Wyoming and through Montana, over through Washington, and we ended up at spending, one of the nights, we ended up in a little town called White Salmon, Washington.
Yeah.
And as we were driving from Pendleton, that whole day, all the way heading that way, the anxiety was crazy. God, I mean, I was trying to figure out, why is there so much anxiety? Why is there so much intensity? And it was just off the charts. And the other thing that started happening during this time is we started noticing the synchronous thing with numbers on the clock. It was nuts. It was going out of control. Look, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. It just kept happening constantly. We're like, what is this about?
Yeah.
So we didn't really know. We didn't have an answer, but we figured, there's some reason for this. So anyway, we end up in White Salmon. Didn't know where we were going to stay, and my brother Chris saw a sign that said camping area.
We were doing we wanted to be this like a camping thing. We had our tent and our bags and all that kind of stuff, and we'd never done really much camping.
Right.
And we were feeling lots of anxiety about camping. But anyway.
So we drove across this bridge of White Salmon to go over to, from Hood Riverside by the Columbia River over to White Salmon. And there's a cool little camping area right there. It's a Good Sam's.
Yeah.
I think it's a Good Sam's.
Yeah, I think it's Good Sam's.
And we put the tent up, still feeling nutty anxiety. Like, what is this all about?
My life is coming to an end.
Yeah, it was really like, oh my God.
We're about to die.
I'm going to actually spontaneously combust. So we got the camp set up and asked this guy at the front desk at the camping area there where to go get something to eat, and he said, go to White Salmon. It's a little town from up the hill. So we drove up there. We didn't stop to get anything to eat up there, but we drove, kind of meandered around up through this little town, and then came to this one spot on this road where there was kind of a little white spot, and we thought, like, wow, look at that view, Mount Hood right there. So what we did is we went back a ways and parked the car where it would be out of the way so it wouldn't be on the road. And we decided, let's walk back down there.
Yeah.
So we walked down, and it was getting toward evening, dusk.
Golden hour.
God, it was a beautiful, beautiful evening.
Yeah.
And we were standing, looking at this view of Mount Hood, had the snow on it, this beautiful sky, a few little clouds.
And the anxiety magically went kind of...
The anxiety was like going crazy, and I was just thinking, like, I was trying to reconcile, like, look at this beautiful view, and I feel like I'm about ready to die. And then something came to me, which was, the truth is true, all is well. Unconquerable life prevails. And I turned to my brother and I said, it's about trusting, let go.
Yeah.
And something, I don't know if it was that we were getting assistance of some sort, but everything eased out.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh my God. And the view of the mountain hood and
wow.
the moon was up.
Jupiter
and Mars.
Venus.
Venus was over to the west.
Yeah.
It was like magical.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my brother, wow, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a UFO right now.
So
Yeah.
I turn around like this and there's one right there. This beautiful, white, brilliant star orb. It wasn't dark out. It wasn't nighttime yet. It was dusk. This beautiful, brilliant, full spectrum kind of white, beautiful star kind of thing. It's just sitting there, and then it moved off, and then it disappeared.
It was incredible.
It's crazy.
So anyway, so that was that, and then we went back. We camped and had a great night. It was amazing. It was a cool campsite. Hit the road the next day, and did a little driving. Went down to about Eugene, Oregon. Turned around, came back because we were thinking like we got to go back to that same place again.
Yeah.
We're feeling this amazing
Yeah.
draw to go back to White Salmon. This was going to be a long recording here. I mean, we're getting into a lot, but
maybe we should save some of this for a little further.
okay. But
Yeah.
we'll just say this: when we got back to White Salmon again the second time, oh my God!
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, so where should we go from here?
Well, listen, I just want to underscore one thing here. To bring it back again to, we want to share with you what's happening for us, so that if there's something that's happening for us that can be a doorway for you,
Yep.
or inspiration for you in some way, or encouragement, some agreement that what you're experiencing is okay,
Yep.
and that it's not too much, and that you can actually come through it.
You just reminded me of something here, and this happened during the trip, that when things are the most intense and the most challenging, watch out.
Good
Something amazing
It's
is
gonna
going to happen.
Something's going to open
You
up.
hold true, you hold steady, and actually this seems counterintuitive, but say thank you, Creator, for this intensity.
Yes.
Thank you, Creator,
Yes.
for this intensity, because you're bringing me something amazing that's going to be given birth through me.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible.
It's going to
And
change
it- and
things.
it's going to change everything.
Boy, thank you for bringing that up, because that's really so true. It's on the trip we'd have those experiences where we'd be feeling, one day it was like, oh, isn't this great, man?
Yeah,
we're having a
yeah,
great time.
yeah.
And then the next day you get up and go, wow, what happened? And the
intensity.
anxiety and the intensity and all that. And then we start getting to the point of going, oh yeah,
That's
thank
right.
you.
Something
Thank you.
amazing.
Something wonderful is going to happen.
And it
something
does.
And it does. And sometimes it's nothing more than it eases out and you feel great. And there's a whole new spectrum of feeling you're having, or you have a new insight or a new perspective about what's really going on here.
And here's another thing you can do when you feel the incredible intensity that like you just don't think you can take it. Find somebody that's right around you and bless them.
Be loving.
Be loving.
Express love.
Appreciate them. Do something like that, because all of that energy that's building up wants to find expression, and what it really is you wanting to love.
The marvelous, incredible, wonderful, magnificent being that you are is wanting to come through your capacities, and that it's so if it's stopped here, it's going to cause all kinds of issues. You want to come out.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more fulfilling than walking up to somebody and say, thank you for doing that, or you're doing such a wonderful job. Being a
Even if
blessing,
you don't
speak
know 'em.
it. Even if you don't know them, you don't have to know them.
No.
That's one of the most amazing things you'd stop and get gas somewhere and go inside and you bless somebody and they'd be just like, wow. It happened not too long ago. We were driving up
Rustic.
up to Poudre Canyon outside of Fort Collins, and we stopped at this store, and there was this woman running the store, and she was having a rough day.
She was not in a good place.
She was having a rough day, and we went in there and we spent a few moments with her, and it changed her. All of a sudden, she's like, "Bye, nice, thanks for coming in." And it wasn't like about us; it's about the fact that she went through that change. It's possible to be a miracle maker, if you will. We just have to bring ourselves. The miracle isn't out there. It doesn't come through somebody else. It comes from us. It comes from you. It's the being that you are.
Yep.
You know, the movie, Bruce Almighty.
Oh.
At the very end it says, you want a miracle? Be the miracle.
No, that's true.
Maybe that's the point to end on.
Well, actually, I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but we do need to bring this to an end. And if what we're talking about, what we're bringing is of value, let us know, because we didn't know if this would be anything that anybody would even care to listen to, or that could be helpful to anybody. I do want to mention just briefly here, real quick, because it is the fact that we are in the midst of an amazing cycle on this planet that is intensifying. There are waves of energy that are coming, and you probably have checked out different sites and heard the same thing. I can't prove it, but I do feel it, and I do know it, and I know my brother does too. These amazing intensities and these currents, and it feels like it's bringing your stuff up. Yes, it's good.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. Hold steady through it, because it's good stuff. It's going to transmute our capacities more and more and more, so that we can more fully be here as the amazing beings that we really are.
You know, I thought I was going to try to close this thing off a minute ago, but I'm so glad you brought that up, because these waves of energy that are coming to this planet now, this has never happened before.
No.
And this is, like you put it one time, this is a golden opportunity for all of us, served up on a silver platter.
Couldn't be any better.
Couldn't be any better. I mean, this is, we are being given such a gift with these waves of intensity. This is going to allow us to do lifetimes upon lifetimes of transmutational work in consciousness.
In
a shorter, much more condensed period of time. It's an incredible opportunity.
Well, here's the other thing. That's why you're here now.
Yeah.
You're one of the ones.
Yep.
If you're watching this, you are one of the ones who is here to participate and play your part in this outworking right now. It's not an accident that you're here. You're supposed to be here, and you're supposed to be listening to us.
Yep.
So you're awesome.
So one of the things I just wanted to point out, or that you probably already heard about, they talk about ascension symptoms. Just so you know,
they're real.
I've got some going on right now. The crown of my head is going crazy. It's unbelievable. It's like I've got like critters crawling all over my head, and they're poking my head and stuff. It's amazing. So the life current's increasing, and it's going to start showing up and manifesting in our bodies. So remember who you are. Don't forget that. You are the one looking through your eyes. You are the one who's hearing the sounds. You are the one who's perceiving your feelings, whether they're physical or emotional, whatever it is. You are not those things, and it's okay to feel all these symptoms. Don't worry, it's not you that's being assaulted. It's your body and it's your consciousness going through transmutation. It's being changed. So
and I just want to say, you rock.
Yeah.
You rock. And you know what? You are the answer for what's happening here right now.
Yeah.
And you are amazing. And I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean that this world is in good hands because of you. This world has a future because of you. Mankind has a future because of you. It's just really exciting for me to say that. I mean, again, we're old guys. Our time here is coming to an end. It's very likely that most of the people watching this are younger than we are. You have an amazing opportunity, And I'm really happy for you.
I wish I was younger right now so that I could be around to see the amazing things that are going to be coming for this planet, because where it's at now is not going to be where it is in a very few years.
Yep.
So I'm glad I'm here now. I hope I get to stick around for a while, because
Me too.
I mean, this is just really getting exciting now.
Yeah. So maybe this is the time to bring this to an end.
Yeah.
Like I said a few minutes ago, if this is anything that's useful and you like what we're talking about or what we have to say, let us know. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Love and blessings
love
to
and
you
bless-
all.
Yeah.
I don't know any of you. Well, I might know some of you.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, who
But
knows?
most of you don't know. But I send my love and blessings to every one of you. Love and blessings and surround, and I know that you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
You're wonderful, like Greg said. You're
Yeah.
wonderful,
You rock.
incredible beings. You rock, and you are the answer for this world.
Yeah. So thanks for taking the time to
Blessings.
spend a few minutes with us, and who knows, maybe we'll be back again. So
Ciao.
bye. Have a great day. All right.
Now watch this thing. It hasn't been recording or something.